Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Well, yesterday we got drag and drop functionality working, and we just have a few issues. Yeah, there we go. We were just setting up the basic movements, the pieces, and we need to get that working better. We just need to streamline it. Of course, we ran out of time yesterday. We were actually over time a little bit, yeah, it didn't quite get things working the way we wanted, but yeah. We should be able to do that pretty quickly now because we got the basics all done. It's just a matter of tweaking it and dialing it in. Now, we started adding piece color here to piece selected. I think I want to add that to piece position. I think that's going to be part of the position. It has to have a collar. Then we've also got yeah, we're setting fake colors here. And right, so we changed this to paint the selected piece. Got it. We turned off the bug printing and painting. Well, we already had that off. Okay, we just left a comment. And then this is where. See, it's inside this function, but that's not really what I care about. What's the innermost function it's inside of? I don't know. Yeah, we're searching for the piece collar here. I think this is during movement, right? When we pick up the piece. Yeah, this is when we're setting drag and drop. So this is on mouse down. Okay. So we're getting the piece collar. And then here we got the piece collar and position just with fake values. And I really should rename position to something else because position normally means index. Anyway, I need to get my nomenclature down and sort through stuff. I probably should do that before I put this project aside so that when I come back to it, I'll understand it better or more quickly. Offset from canvas. Okay, we're grabbing the offset again here in. I think this is on mouse move, right? Yeah. Okay. If it's none, return. If it's click, return. Now, right. So here's what I want to do. I want to, let me check this. I think I understand what's going wrong here. See here, okay, watch, I'm going to click on this piece, and suddenly that piece moves down. Basically, the mouse is touching the left corner, the top left corner of the piece, of the piece's, what do you call it? Of the box it's in. We touch somewhere else and it goes there. Okay, now let's try it again and then move it around. Oh wait, I did that wrong. Let's try this again. Yeah. You can see that if I click and hold, it's in the same spot as if I just click. Right? Oh, and we need to trigger a repaint right away also, as soon as we click down. Yeah. So we'll do that afterward, to be honest. But I see we're having the same trouble in both cases, which is that this position is off by basically the size of the sprite rect. So we can fix that, I think. We are painting selected piece separately from all the other pieces, which means we have the chance to do those calculations differently. Although it shares so much with paint piece. Like I was just copying and pasting over here the other day. Maybe we could combine most of that stuff into, I'm thinking we combine most of this stuff into a shared function that they both call to get the calculation. But I think that's a little tweaking we can do later. Okay, now refactoring will be a great thing to do soon. I see a lot of refactoring that needs to happen. Maybe I'll take time to do that. Right then, we got piece selected. Okay, get piece rect. Right, so we're going to take this width and height and subtract half of that and use that as an offset. Actually, what's stopping me from doing that right here? Let's see. Right. So we're just taking this directly. Okay. Minus width divided by 2 minus height divided by 2. That might fix it. That might get us on track. So let's see. That's a lot closer. Now if I click it, that's fine. It's a little bit off center. Let's reload the board. It's kind of hard to see. Let's click one of the pawns. And you can see, now I do want it to be a little bit higher up, to be honest. So height divided by 2, I want to subtract a little more. So instead of multiplying it by 0.5, yeah, okay, so 0.4 times height. I don't know what happened here. Okay. Let's try that. It's going a little bit lower. Okay. So we want to do, yeah, we want to subtract a little more, 0.8. Probably too much. That's probably too aggressive. Let's see what it looks like though. Yeah, that looks right actually. That looks good. At least it looks good when you're clicking. So that's probably the right amount. Okay. Now, again, one thing we're going to need to do is offset it the same way we do when we're going to have to, yeah, you know what, we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so I wonder if you click and move it, it still looks okay. We're grabbing it by the bottom. It looks fine, honestly. But I think it's a little bit too high. So we're going to change this to 0.6. Let's do 0.7. Yeah, I think that's going to be great. Okay. So then we need to make some changes after that. Well, no, we're going to commit like it is, I think. We want that change and that, definitely. Yes, we need that because that's getting the collar. We need to keep the collar available. Let me keep a track of the refactorings we need to do. Or maybe we call this DX, Developer Experience or Refactoring. Merge collar down into piece position. Piece position type. Pick better name for it, maybe. The other thing we need to do is here, use, excuse me, object types for XY instead of number. Actually, let's do this. Let's say it differently. Replace this type with X. That's a little clearer. That's a little less ambiguous about what the heck I'm talking about. Offset from canvas, for example. But we could look for number basically everywhere. You know, I like notating it that way because the only way for me to do that, if I read this bullet point and don't remember anything else, the only way to do it is to search for this, which is exactly what I want. I want to replace all of them, not just one or two. So that's something AI could help with when I'm ready to let it. It's pretty good about that, and it's pretty easy for me to review the changes. I think the key with AI, to stay productive with AI, is make sure you give it a change that's easy enough for it to do, but more importantly, even more important than that, make sure that whatever change you ask it to do is something easy to review. Because if it's difficult to review, you may as well do it yourself. Because at the point you have to read someone else's code, well, writing code is, usually writing code is easier than reading code. So, you know, usually it takes less effort to write code than to read code. So if you're going to go through the effort of reading someone else's code, simplified as much as possible. This is the kind of change right here where AI can help a lot. Now, I mean, I guess the exception, the one case where writing code can be more difficult than reading code is when you have to do a lot of research in advance. So maybe if you're reading someone's code to tell you how to do something, that's a shortcut for researching, but it still takes longer than writing code. It takes less time than researching code. Yes, I think that's it. I think I've learned how I feel about AI. Let's just write this out for a second. So researching takes a lot of time. It takes more time than reading code. But reading code takes more time than writing code. So when you're using AI, if you're having it write a bunch of code and then trying to read it and make sure it's correct, well, to do a really good job of it, it's going to take a long time. Yeah, I think this is why AI. This is why people are getting mixed results with AI, right? People are trying to have it write code. People are trying to have AI replace the easiest part of their workflow, which is writing code. Now, people who don't know code, of course, they don't realize that's the easiest part, but it is. So, as a software developer, you may as well just write your code, right? Because that's the easy part. I mean, you can use a little IntelliSense. I could see using AI to do autocomplete, but to be honest, half the time it gets the wrong thing, and then you're stuck. Anyway, normal autocomplete is good enough. It's something I'm used to, so that doesn't increase my productivity too much to have AI autocomplete for me. Because again, if it autocompletes a big section, now I have to read code instead of writing code. And writing code, when I know what I'm doing, writing code is much faster than reading. Now, when I don't know what I'm doing, I need to research. The quickest way to research, though, is if you have an implementation that already does what you need, exactly the way you need it, and you can just read that and verify that it's correct. Maybe you have to run through it a couple of times and debug it step by step, but basically reading code that already solves the problem, even if it's slightly wrong, is still faster than researching and trying to come up with a solution on your own, trying to figure it out. So that's, I think that's where AI, that's where people get, that's where it's useful to have AI to write maybe 100 lines of code at a time, is to help you research, to help make your research quicker. But in terms of actually normal development work where you're doing something known, reading code takes longer than writing code, so you may as well just write it yourself. That's what I'm learning for myself when I use AI. So here we go. A little bit of AI nonsense for you this morning. Actually, I should put AI in the title of my video because that's going to help with view count. Because obviously everybody is interested in AI right now. Okay, so create type aliases for index, position, rename, position. Here, let's do this. Position of type X number, Y number to coordinate. Create a type alias for that too. All right, so we need to just keep a track of all this because we're going to forget by tomorrow, right? Here we go. Man, that was we're finally getting back to what we were doing. Okay, so let's start looking at this. That was a tangent inside of a tangent is what that was. Okay. Now we have our move input mode. Okay, this is our changes to mouse move, I believe. Yeah. This looks good. And then we got our new paint program, or our new painting thing. We need that. Now there are a couple of bugs we need to deal with right away. UX, animate piece while moving. Separate animation for click versus drag and drop. It's sort of separate, but it's sort of not. Okay, now there were a couple of bugs in that. Whoopsie daisy. Let's get those written down too, even though we're getting ready to take care of them right away. Oh, whoopsie daisy. I don't know what I just did. There we go. I think I did that. I think we're good. I'm going to ignore that until it comes up again. We're not doing that right away. It would be great for accessibility. I don't know why it's on the bug list though. That's an enhancement. Okay. Now what we need to do at the moment is, what would this be? Movement animation bugs. Repaint screen right after mouse down. This is getting confusing. I have to spend brain cells to switch from one to the other instead of just going dun, dun. Where's cursor? There. And then, yeah, I have to spend so many brain cells to get back to the browser. I don't know why. Maybe I need to restart my computer. It has been a minute. Kind of concerned to see that kind of bug, but whatever. So basically, let's go ahead and restart. If I click on a piece and hold down the mouse, you can see it's drawn twice. We just need to basically repaint the whole screen right away. Yeah. So let's do that, and then we'll explore what bugs remain after that, because that might be enough to fix it. This is our painting spot, so let's call this paint. We need to go back to the use effect. I think what we're going to do here is search for move input mode, right? Oh, wait a minute. We are already doing this, aren't we? Isn't needs full repaint getting changed right away? Wait a minute. Before we do that, I don't think we should track piece movement. I think we're doing it the wrong way. Move input mode. On mouse down. I think we need to just set it here. Excuse me. Where are we setting needs full repaint? I think it's just right here, right? We're doing that on mouse up. Okay. We need to do it on mouse down, that's all. That's all it is. On mouse down. Okay. Let's go ahead and set it here where we're setting everything else. Now I wonder, I don't know that we need it here. I'm going to remove it. Well, I'm going to leave it here for now and just see how it works in both places. And then we'll see how it works with this removed. So click, perfect. Yes, that works fine. Click and drag. Oh wait, I have to click and drag. There we go. Okay. Now I just noticed something we might want to exclude. I move into click mode, and then I can drag another piece, but this is the one that moves, right? We're moving from 22 to 11. Well, I know you can't see the indices anymore. But this is like 40 or 50, right? So we probably should block that. If you click on a piece, you probably shouldn't be able to drag. But, we can leave it for now. I mean, the fact that I can't immediately figure out how to solve it kind of tells me that my my process of distinguishing between clicking and dragging is maybe a bit rudimentary. Maybe there's another data structure I could use or another way of thinking about it that would help me there and automatically maybe more easily solve that problem. But I don't know. Okay, let's take this off on mouse up. I don't think we need it here because I think this is too late, right? I think we were trying to solve the same problem there, but it was just too late. Yep, that's what it was. We just need to move it from one place to the other. And that fixes it. I didn't realize how easy it'd be. Oh wait, I just did the wrong thing. Let's remove that. Did you see what I did there? That is not what I'm supposed to do. All right, let's try again. Now then, that's a better change. Okay. Bug. Move. Wait, let's call it board canvas, right? Repaint on mouse down. Earlier in the user event user interaction. Okay. Repaint on mouse down instead of on mouse up. Okay. Now, there was another bug we wanted to deal with. What was it? There are two bugs, right? Here. Repro. Click and release a piece. Drag a different piece to the destination. Let's try this. Let's click and release the horsey. Oh wait, that didn't work. There we go. Click and release the horsey. Now we'll drag the queen, and suddenly there's a horsey, right? That's the problem. Okay. Expected. Actually, let's do actual. Dragged piece is moved, or drag event is ignored. Actual. Observe. There we go. Clicked piece is moved. Drag event by drag event. Yeah. I guess what we could do to fix this, actually, we could say, because I realized there are two different possibilities here. You could either move the drag piece and ignore like undo the click, or you could ignore the drag event. So in this scenario, let's start over. You know, we clicked the knight as if we're getting ready to move it, then we move the queen. Now there are two possible, before I release this, there are two possible outcomes a user would expect. Either we ignore the drag event completely and still wait for you to move the knight, or we undo the click event on the knight and we just move the queen, right? Either one of those would be less surprising, and then just undo that, right? Oh wow, and there's also the fact that, oh wow, things are not repainting. Oh, we need it in both places. Okay. Let's fix that. We don't want to do that. We want to get rid of this, right? Yes. So, again, this takes too many brain cells to switch. Okay. Yeah, okay, it's working now. So let's redo that commit. Yeah, okay. As well as mouse up. All right, great. Now we have a little bit of time left before I have to go. Let's make sure to use it well. Right, I think maybe we could solve this. I think what would be easier, my original expectation was we'd ignore the drag event. And basically what I'm saying is, in order to do that, what I have to do is detect the drag event at step 2, detect the drag event, and then I would have to, I'd have to detect on mouse down in this stage, and then when you click mouse up, I have to say, nope, this mouse up is not the end of the click. This mouse up is a separate drag event that we're going to ignore. So basically there what I need is a stack of user interactions, right? So basically what that would be is, let's go back to the same example. User clicks the horsey. Oh, okay, let's click the horsey. User clicks the horsey, right? That goes on the stack. That's the most recent user interaction. Then user attempts to drag the queen. That's the next most recent interaction, and it goes on the stack at this point while we're holding down the mouse, right? Because we're dragging it. And then when they release, what it would do is ignore the queen, and then just it would just ignore the dragging, pop that off the stack and get rid of it, and then we go back to this interaction. So basically, instead of having piece selected and move input mode be 2 separate variables, I'd want to have one meta variable that includes all the state of the interaction, right? And we can modify it and tweak it as we go. We can add a new interaction, right? So that is what we could do. The only challenge is with that model, if we do model things that way, you know, it's funny, I was halfway through explaining to you guys why it's so much easier to do this part instead of that part. But in the middle of that explanation, I realized what I needed to do both, to do either, which would be the stack. But it's easier to do this, right? Because all we've got to do is undo the click event and overwrite it. All we'd have to do to make that behavior happen would be a very small change here. Sorry, there we go. On mouse down, basically, if there's a piece selected, then we can keep going. But I don't think that's a good idea, because the problem is it would prevent you from capturing, right? Okay, now let's go back to the stack idea, because I think that's going to work better. I think we need a stack to do either well. A stack of just 2 events, by the way. It's not a very deep stack, but it is indeed a stack. Okay, so the problem here with click events is very simple. You notice it's a click event at some point. Well, I guess in some sense it's click. If you only support click events, it's simple. Or only drag and drop. Either way, distinguishing between the two is difficult. Because where are we actually doing that? Oh, right here. So, okay. So we're distinguishing between a click event and a drag event on mouse up. That's tricky. That is tricky. You know, I don't know that I need to fix this right now. It's just going to be some surprising behavior. Like if the user forgets, I know this is going to happen to the user. It's happened to me before. Like, you select one piece, you forget about it, you select a different one. You know what I mean? Like, but the thing is, like, if they do this, like, it's a valid capture, right? So they're just going to have to get used to that. All right, the other problem we're going to go ahead and fix, I think we'll leave it for now. Like, this version of it is kind of okay, it's more tame. But this version is kind of weird, you know. Like maybe this and then that. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, but the pawn doesn't move, so that's kind of a hint. It doesn't, you know, normally when you're moving a pawn, it'll follow your mouse. Okay, so the user at least has some hint, something's wrong. The pawn's not moving. Okay. I think part of the problem is I trained myself to get used to, moving pieces without seeing them, which is not how things work now. Okay. So I think that's I think it's a lower priority to me today. So the other thing we need to fix is, oh shoot, I just now thought of it and then forgot. I think I just solved the issue. What was it? Oh, right. When you pick up a piece, it not only does it move a little bit, it gets off center again. So pieces are off center and back up to their old schemes. I guess that's 2 words, isn't it? Okay. We can fix that very easily. On paint. On paint, no. Paint piece, yes. Here we go. This is the thing. Now let's look at the, I think we already had piece chosen already. Map to Z, let's just say. Hopefully I'll remember. Let's go to the top of the file. We want to pull in the asset here. Where's that defined? Okay. Right here in this function is where we need that. Whoopsie daisy. Keyboard going crazy. Now, this is going to go up here. Can't imagine why we'd need to export that, so I'm not going to. Per piece what? Per piece offset. And I'm going to call it tweaks because that's what it is. Okay, piece and collar. Right, we grab the index, X and Y. Right, plus, well, let's get the tweaks first. Const. X tweak, Y tweak equals yeah, we're using the same, okay, great. Equals per piece offset tweaks, piece, there we go. Now this is, right, maybe I should rename this to piece name or something and not have that be the piece. That would free up the name piece for something a little more intuitive. Like the piece position, for example. Okay. Now, I don't think I want to have it multiply by anything. But the offsets can be added together, can't? Well, let's just add it here. What's this sprite grid offset? Oh, it's the overall offset, I see. Right, the entire grid is shifted by this much. Okay, so, right. Plus X tweak plus Y tweak. Here we go. I think that's pretty simple. And then right over here, we removed it, and we're not going to do that anymore. I think we're just doing it like that, right? Offset it by 1/10. Okay. Now hopefully the pieces still render the same way. Let's have a look and see how different it is. If we click, everything re-renders. It's broken. Oh, we need to subtract. Oopsie daisy. Again. Okay, let's click again. That's better. Huh. Let's reapprehend this, shall we? Let's dash changes. And then, come on now. Bring me back there. Then click on it. Oh. Wait. Okay, now everything looks fine. Pop changes. Surely things aren't drastically changed, are they? They are. Okay, let's reload. Oh, I see. Okay, it's going to stay that way. Huh. Oh, wait. I'm getting it. I think I'm understanding. Those, yeah, let's look in the source control, actually. Right here. Here's the issue. Oh, sorry. Right here. You see the difference between this calculation and this one? Here, the per piece offset is multiplied by cell size. In fact, it's multiplied by 1/10 of cell size. So what is 1/10 of cell size, right? That's what we need to know. So that's the problem, is this is basically too big. So what is cell size currently? It is currently 256, right? And we don't need this we don't need the cell size to stay the same, but we need this offset to stay the same, I feel like. I don't know, maybe it is relevant. It'd be interesting what happens. Well, we'll see. So, let's use a calculator. 256 times 10%. 25.6. What if we just say 27? 26 would be fine? Okay. So now let's go back, let's go back to cursor and do some multiplication here. Times 26. Okay. I remember what I'm doing differently now than before. Okay, this is better. Does it make that much difference if I do it that way? Whoops daisy. And the next thing I need to know is, okay, let's get rid of this. I think, yeah. Huh. Now what was the problem with this exactly? Okay. Well, let's multiply by 0, shall we? Let's cancel out this term for now. Let's get back to how we were long ago. Is this really how it was? Oh yeah, the pieces are bigger now than they were. Okay, so this is how it originally was, right? So what this is telling me is we're not tweaking by enough. Now when I tweak this a little bit, so this is basically its natural state without any adjustments. If I reload, everything's moving back a little bit this way, but not enough that way. Do I need to make this a plus? I feel like that's going to do the opposite of good. Oh, does it not make any difference whatsoever? Oh, because it's 0 in all these cases. Oh. Oh. We're not tweaking things vertically. We're giving ourselves the option to. Okay, let's go back to subtracting. Quite honestly, I feel like the pieces are centered. For the most part, they're slightly off. You could argue with it. The rook's slightly off, but we're getting there. So let's work on this horizontal thing. Okay, that's better. I don't know why the math is different here exactly. That didn't move at all. Oh, because the rook offset is too... Okay. Let's try 40. See, now this is moving the wrong way. Oh, okay. Okay, well that's interesting. I didn't think the math was that different. Let's take another look. There's something we're missing in this function down here. Oh, well, yeah. So this is our offset, which gets passed into here. I guess I could pass back the offset separately, the per piece offset separately, and let it do the math on this side, but I don't know, it feels like a waste. All right, here's another option. let's just say I'm not smart enough to do this. I'm not smart enough to move it over to here, right? I am if I spend enough time on it, but I don't have time. So let's just assume I'm not smart enough to do it. Let's stash our changes, combine piece tweaks into piece asset. Let's go back to where we started from, because we don't have time to be smart. Hang on. I think I know the issue I'm having here with, oopsie daisy. I've realized the issue I'm having. I used to do this when I wanted to switch back to browser. So that's, the browser's probably always had that issue. Okay. Anyway. Now, having done that, let's close this up and let's go back to, what was it, Z? Yeah, right here. We're going to make a subroutine that does most of what we want and then combine it. And well, we're going to go ahead and split this again. P. There we go. We're going to do a subroutine that both of these use. We're going to put it right here. Function get get piece stuff. Get piece paint metrics. Okay. Props. I don't think I need the context for this. What arguments do these share in common? The piece and the collar. Okay. Got it. Piece position. Piece collar. Oh, there we go. Perfect. That's what they share in common. And it's going to return piece paint metrics. Type piece paint metrics equals boom. Function done. Great. Okay, I don't know, but this is moving in there, right? We'll move this in, get rid of the context, and ignore the error because it's a phony error. We need this stuff. All the stuff they share can go in there. Okay, that's not shared. That's shared, isn't it? No, it's not quite shared. Let's see. Ah, yeah, okay. We need to actually pass in the position separately, I think. Yeah. Coordinate. Let's at least call it something different, right? X number, Y number. Comma there. Okay, that's going to be part of our input type. Okay, and I don't think we need this anymore, but we'll get there. We're going to reduce what we need. Well, what does this need? Piece selected. What does it use this for? We pull out the position, which is the coordinate. We get the piece and the piece collar. And that's it. So we don't need, if we look at that type, we don't need, oh, sorry. If we look at the piece position type, we don't need the position here, the index. So let's just pass in what we need. There we go. Should be good to go. Should be good to go. Now, oh yeah, yeah. Great, now from that position, We're gonna have to rewrite this a little bit, but man, this is gonna eat up my brain if I'm not careful. I know we need to copy this over. You know, I feel like we kind of almost need 3 separate. Let me split this again. Yeah, we need to have 3 of them. I want to lock these 2 together, but I know Vim can do that. I don't know if this can do that. Right, well, let's close that up. Let's go down here. There we go. Oh, we already have that copy. Great. Now, we want this as well, the offset, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so we have here piece, collar, and coordinate. Okay? Now then, that's fine. Now, I think what we'll do is, okay, we have our coordinate right here. We can go ahead and do that. Oh, okay, I don't know what just happened. We'll do that here. Okay, great. This is the same. I think what I'll do is just copy everything from here and then go back and look at this one to see what I can remove. Now we're going to do everything except draw it as much as we can possibly manage. Where's width and height? Oh, we need that too. Okay. I guess I can understand wanting this first. Okay. Makes enough sense. It's kind of it's a constant, so. Okay. Here we go. Did I misname this? Oh, I did. Okay, let's go back. Undo, undo. Wait. That's the problem there. Okay. Now, we need to return all the metrics we need. Okay. And basically, all we need is whatever it takes to draw this, right? We need the source rect to destination rect. Piece sprite map, I'm not going to return that actually. Oh good, it's a global already, as far as we're concerned. So, you know, it really would help. Oh, don't I have a rect type somewhere? Pieces, rect. Types, rect. I do have a rect type. That's exactly what I want. Source, rect. Destination, rect. There we go. That's going to be really, really simple. Source. X. Oh, we have these already. Source rect. Destination. Dest rect. We just rename these. Source. Destination. Perfect. Perfect, okay. We're ignoring that problem. We're not going here anymore. Okay, now, at this point, I think I can replace all of this. We're not doing our round tripping here. I think I'm done with this. I think I'm done with the asserts. If that becomes a problem later, I will then reevaluate. Wait a minute, this does more stuff than the other one. I gotta be careful here. Okay. Z, I think. Yeah, there we go. And we'll call this one Infrenew, I guess. Okay. Now for this one, I think I can just remove all of this. All I need is this and that. Okay, so const source destination equals get piece paint metrics, and we have to pass in piece selected dot piece. Okay, and then we have to pass in coordinate, which is going to be piece selected dot position, and then we're going to pass in the color. Piece color is piece selected dot color. And I want to move these around a little bit. I think it makes more sense this way. What's going wrong here? All these structured elements are unused. That shouldn't be an error. That should just be a warning because it freaks me out or causes me to miss real errors. Okay, well, we'll fix that later. It's an excellent warning to have, but it's not a bug in the code. It's just unwritten code. Now, okay, I could just replace this with source, right? Substitute source rect for source. Substitute dest rect for destination. Done. I guess I could have renamed them up here as well, but yeah, that's got it done. Now then, this is really simple now. What does this one have that these two don't? Probably easier to see them side by side like this. Well, hello, no. I don't know what that was about. That was rather strange. Yeah, we can close that up. I want to close up as much as possible to try to draw conclusions as quickly as we can. So, let's do this much of it actually. Const source destination. Yeah, that should have a comma there by convention. Equals get, whoops daisy, piece paint metrics. The piece is going to be piece position dot piece. That needs to be renamed. Piece color is going to be piece position dot color. No. Oh, color's passed in. Color's just a given. Okay, so then we have coordinate. Okay, this is something we have to calculate for ourselves, I think. Right here. Get render position with offset. Now where does the offset come from? Here. Oh, this is where we're failing. Okay. I get it. Now I understand why these weren't, now I get why this wasn't matching up when we did it in the source. It's because this is fundamentally canvas coordinates. It's not coordinates in the source image at all. We needed to translate those for that to even work. So I think we just basically would need to redo this from scratch, more or less, to get that to even work. Okay, so that's kind of my bad. This is the offset on the canvas. It's not the offset on the SVG. So, yeah, that's what went wrong. Okay. Render position with offset. So what I need to do basically is multiply that by the scale factor by this or that, I think. Either multiply or divide by 1.2 is what I need to do for that to work. You know, we could try that and just see quickly if that works or not. I don't really have a lot of time left today. But I will say that I think at this point, like, this is a real problem trying to separate calculating the coordinates from applying the offset. Because here we start with coordinates. Here we start with coordinates. Here we calculate them and add the offset at the same time. Are we calling get render position with offset here? We're not. No, we're not. I could just remove the offset and maybe it still works. I think I should move forward with this plan. Here we're using it to calculate the offset. Okay, yeah, I think we should just yeah, this explains why round tripping isn't useful inside this function. Is because we're not even calculating the same thing. Okay, yeah. This needs to happen first. And the offset is going to be missing. That's allowed, right? And I think XPX is probably a bad name for this. I don't know. XPX, YPX. I feel like we need to rename that. Yeah, because of this. Okay, we need to do that by hand too. X init. Y init. Okay, that's fair enough. Now, we know we don't need this part. Now, it does kind of concern me about this. Aren't we doing that, though? I'm not seeing where we're doing that, actually. So this is the kind of the thing we want to happen, right? How am I using... Wait, am I looking at the right spot? Oh, I am calculating the offset. I'm just never using it. Right. Right, okay. So this is where things kind of fall down a little bit. So we do the offset before the scale factor, don't we? Oh, the scale factor is for width and height. Okay. Right. Well, we're going to rename this again, I think. Const X PX YPX equals XPX 0 YPX 0. We're going to do that for now. We're going to rename this X init. It's not used in whoa, not used anywhere. Y init. Okay. Okay, now what we want to do is combine them together the same way we would if we were calling render position with offset. Okay. It looks like we're just adding the offsets. Okay. So this is going to be X init plus offset 0. We're just going to do that. Y init plus offset 1. Okay, so that should give us the offset we need. And let's move back where we were. Okay, great. We're not using those yet, that's fine. Get render position with offset. Well, we still need this. We have it here, no offset. Okay. We're not going to round trip it anymore. Get piece rect. I'm pretty sure we're doing that here, so we don't need that anymore. Now what about this? This is copied over. Okay, and so is creating the source rect and dest rect. Okay, I think we nailed it. We figured out what was missing. We have this solution working. Okay. Okay. Let's, oh. Interesting. Okay. We return the new hitbox, sure. Substitute source rect, source. There we go. User history. We don't need the offset anymore. Okay, this is actually slightly more complicated than the other one, but it's fine. We can't make use of get render position with offset. We can't basically combine the offset with a render position anymore, which probably is, yeah, probably for the best. Okay, great. I could maybe change paint piece metrics to handle this as well later on, where you pass in a different set of arguments to get it to do this for you, but we're not going to do that for now. The main thing I want to see is, if we look here, let's reload it. Oh, that's all completely wrong. All right. Well, let's try the other solution. Let's stash everything. Combine common parts of paint piece, paint selected piece. That didn't work the way we wanted, but I think we figured out enough information to get the other one working. Okay, apply stash at 1. Okay. Now, as I recall, the problem with this one was, oops, hang on. Okay, confusing. Yeah, let's bring it over here, pieces, right there. The problem was these numbers are not right. We need to change those. We don't need to necessarily multiply them by that. Well, maybe we do, but we need to multiply by something else first. I think 1.2. Right? Oh, wait, times width and height. Hang on, where was I using that? Where am I calculating the offset? Right here. Wait a minute. Oh, we changed it to get rid of that stuff. That's right. Okay, well, I need to look at the old one a little bit. We had the per piece offset coming here into the offset. And then we use that here to calculate this value. And then how do we modify this value? Oh, well, we're not modifying at all. The only thing is that this is the destination rect, not the source rect, right? We're not modifying the source rect like we probably should have. It's probably the right value to modify. Okay. So basically, if we want to convert from source coordinates to destination coordinates, how are we doing that? Oh, we're not. Right, but this kind of gives us a clue. Right, we are doing it for width and height. We're not converting coordinates, but we are converting the width and height metrics right here. Okay. So basically I need to undo this calculation. So we need to divide by 1.2, I guess. Let's get rid of the 25.6 for now. I don't think we need it, quite honestly. Okay. And I want to divide by 1.2. want to make sure the order this happens in because I'm confuzzled. I don't want to be confuzzled. Now, let's do width first because it's going to be more useful, and then we'll figure out the height. So, because this is 0 for all of them, right? So this is all going to amount to 0. Sprite size index. Sorry, sprite size ratio. Width divided by height. So I want to multiply by height divided by width. This comes from the source rect. Yes, it comes from here, from the source coordinates. Okay. I divide by 1.2 and then multiply by this for the width. For the height, we're only dividing by 1.2. We're not worried about the width and height. Okay. Does this fix things? No. Okay. Do we need to put in the 25.6 thing? Wait, I'm getting confused again. Yeah, I need to worry about order of operations here for now. We might calculate the best order of operations or the easiest to read later. This is looking closer, but we've gotten here before. No, I think this is really good. I think we're just off by a little bit. What if we change this to 27? That's better. But I remember being here before and not being... Yeah, things get further out of whack. Okay, this is good enough, I think. Now, what I need to do, though, is move the Y tweak a little bit. I want to tweak it a little bit. And I want to make it easy to tweak. So that's what we're going to do. I think we can do this all in one step. Oh, come on. Oh, that was... Okay. Well, whatever. I think it was worth it, but still a little bit disappointing that my formatter undid all that. Oh, yeah. So... Yeah, let's do this. Times 20, times 30. Now what's it look like? Those go the wrong way. Okay. -1. Oops, daisy. Okay, I think that's close enough for now, to be quite honest with you. I know it needs to be tweaked more, especially the knights, but... And it's still different. It's still different when we're moving pieces, but it's okay. It's good enough. Oh, I know why it's different. No, I don't. No, I don't. Okay. I was about to say something dumb. I won't say it. Move piece per piece into assets pieces. This lets it work for more than just... This lets it work where... This lets us make use of the correction wherever we try to use these assets. Helps if I can spell. Okay. Alright, I think we're done for now. I think that's good. So let's look at where we stand. today, well, last time we worked on this, we worked on drag and drop functionality, and it took a lot less time than we thought. Probably partly because we spent the day before, the stream before, messing around with the computer version of it, or the AI version of it that didn't work, right here. And then, yeah, that's right, we had some more commits, but I just dropped them entirely. Yeah. Oh no, sorry, I dropped all the drag and drop commits. They're not even showing up anymore because they were trash. So the tag works maybe, it really did work. Yeah, okay. This probably wasn't necessary because we got rid of onClick in the end anyway, but we're gonna leave it there. Doesn't really harm anything. It kind of sets up this change a little bit, but not as well as I would have liked. Animate piece while moving. Right, we did that today. So we got our pieces animated and we got the offset fixed. Well, I say fixed, it's still a little bit wonky. It's not doing exactly what I want, but it's closer. And I think the real fix, honestly, instead of doing all this hoopla here, hang on. Instead of doing all this hoopla here to correct things after the fact and try to scale back from canvas coordinates back to the coordinates of the SVG, the source image, what we really need to do is just set up these numbers appropriately, right? Because these are, in terms of the source image, these are really random values. They don't make much sense. I probably just want to start from scratch, set them all to 0, get rid of all this scaling, and then start from there. What I might do is do this math on each value manually to kind of see where it lands us. Kind of unhappy with the fact that this times 30 works, and it isn't quite back up to what we were expecting before. So that tells me I'm missing something. I'm not quite doing the conversion correctly, or there's some other confounding variable that I've neglected to remove. Because the whole point of multiplying by 25.6 was to make up for the offset we wanted. But maybe I'm just doing it wrong, right? Anyway, there's some more to do there to kind of get this shored up, but I don't know, I guess we could do it now. No, let's wait. Let's not try to do too much at once. Let's save it. So, I got animations working as well as I care to, right? I'm not doing this at the moment. This would make the app a little more robust. It probably wouldn't be that hard, to be honest. But I haven't noticed needing that. So the thing is, like, I could try implementing this feature in a poor way based on what I don't understand yet. But if I implement it now, not knowing how it's used, like without a use case for it, I'm going to do this badly, you know? Because under what circumstances does this even happen? You know? Does this have something to do with mobile? I haven't seen, I don't know. So I feel like it seems like it's pretty obvious what to do based on reading the information I saw, the documentation, but you know, documentation doesn't tell you everything. Maybe there's something I'm missing. I got some refactoring left to do. I think that would be good just before I put it down so that when I come back to it, things will make more sense to me and I won't confuse myself. Repaint the screen right after mouse down. Oh, we got that done. We got this mostly fixed. Needs more tweaks though. Needs more tweaks. This one we're not going to fix it. Low priority. We did do that actually. That was on our bug list. Really, it's an improvement. Or I don't know. Maybe it's a bug. Whatever. We're still not doing this. Algebraic notation on the board. That would be useful actually. Just have it there. Okay, this is not something we're going to do. Whatever happened with that, we're done with it. We're not doing that either. Yeah, we could do that. This is another one where I'm not real clear on how to do it well. I know we could probably use the piece hitboxes pretty effectively to help position these elements, but I'm not sure exactly what's needed here, but I'm also not sure how useful it is. Like, quite honestly, as a blind person, you don't care about the position. Well, maybe as a someone who, it depends on what your disability is, I guess. If you have trouble seeing things, but you're used to seeing things, you know, then being able to like have the relative position of things made more clear somehow. I mean, what's more clear than just looking at the board, right? We could make these, maybe there's some tweaks we could do to these pieces to make them more visible. Like maybe there should be a greater contrast between the light and dark squares, and also use a different color rather than using gray. Because what we're using right now is like essentially 3 different shades of black to show the different piece colors and the different square colors, right? We got the light square, the dark square, and then the black color for the pieces, right? So we're essentially using those 3 shades to represent everything. But maybe we could switch this to like a different color, maybe a light pink or something. A light pink and a dark pink, or a dark red or whatever. Maybe something like that to make it more, red's probably the wrong color, maybe some other color. But as far as low visibility, I think we should just enhance the visibility of the board in that case. But for a blind person who's using a screen reader, I don't think they care about the orientation of the board. If anything, they're going to want me to, they're going to want to look at the move list here, right? They're going to want to see what moves have been made, and they're going to want me to use a standard notation that they're familiar with, right? Yeah. So that's what I need to do. I also need to like finally make sure I have the right, whether this should be, I just need to double check whether this is supposed to be dark or light, and whether I got the king and queen in the right order, because that's something, it's easy to forget. Yeah, anyway. And yeah, so that's what's coming up. That is what's coming up, but not today. Today we're just gonna admire it. Just relax for a minute. All right, this has been Creative Craving. I really hope you like the progress I've made on the chess app. Please